Hey guys, Brian with VetteSource here checking in this afternoon. Of course, we've got a blazing hot August day, but that's all right. We're going to keep rolling and keep working on our Corvette teardowns. This Corvette I'm going to be working with today here is the 2003 parts car that we picked up a couple weeks ago. If you didn't catch that video that I did on that one, there's a link up at the top of the video showing kind of a walk around description of that car and what it had left on it. So as you can see, it's pretty hard stripped. I've taken quite a bit of it apart already. What I'm going to do real quick is show you a little bit, well actually the complete disassembly of how this rear suspension comes out of this Corvette. So if you keep up with Corvettes, of course all the talk now is the C8 and the mid-engine design and all the good stuff and all that cool new stuff that they've got on it. So if you're not familiar, the Corvette has actually been a transaxle car since 1997. Yep, for 22 years now, 23 years, the Corvette rocked a setup with the engine in the front, a torque tube down the middle, with the transmission facing to the rear, butted up directly against the differential. So the interesting thing about that was more of a push to get the even weight distribution on the cars. But what they had to do was change up the configuration of the car. And it also meant, as far as maintenance techniques go, there were different things that had to be done to get to the transmission, to the differential, to the engine to get it out. And whereas a traditional car with an engine and transmission in the front, you just pull everything out from the top, everything basically had to be lowered on these cars. Including the entire rear suspension. So what they did was they kind of made this a modular design, a little bit different than the C4s, in fact quite a bit different than the C4s. If you check out above my head, I've got some links to some suspension repair that I did on my C4 1992 project. So it's quite a bit different from the way those are put together. This one is meant to come out all in one piece. And as a result of that, it's actually fairly easy to get out. So what I'll show you real quick is you've got an upper and lower, upper control arm, lower control arm, a center cable, your shock assembly here, your transverse leaf spring right there, and then there is your cradle that holds your differential, and your transmission is in the front there. And your half shafts will basically come through right here, kind of like a CV axle. You can see my finger wiggling through there. Now I did kind of a basic description of one of these. It was already taken out of the car. I'll put that link up at the top of my video there too so you can see that. But what I'm going to focus on primarily for this video is showing you what it takes to drop this. And that was the thing, they tried to make it easy to take out because they knew they were going to have to make some concessions because you had to take everything apart. So basically what I'm looking at is I got one bolt here, 2 bolts, 3 bolts, 4 bolts, 5, and 6, and then of course the brake hose, brake line assembly, and that's it. That's all that holds this thing in. So if you'll watch real carefully, we got this one comes out here, and of course, yes, I did pre-loosen these. They don't normally come out that easy, and this requires a very basic set of tools, as you can see right here. And of course, man, I'm really getting good at dropping my bolts everywhere. So we'll throw that there. Do require, of course, our Punisher or Persuader bar to get things loose towards the end there. So I'm gonna get this one out here. May need a little more persuasion. These are an 18mm head on these, and those will come right out. Now, I've talked about this before in some of my other videos, but what GM did was they changed a little bit of the design of the bolts with these locator pins on them. In fact, what I'm gonna do, let me show you real quick while this one's out. See how the tip of that bolt actually has a space with no threads on it? It's kind of a locator tab, and they made the bolt out of a different material that was more anti-corrosion resistant, so it didn't corrode as fast like the old bolts. So it's kind of easy to get to. So those make it really nice when you're taking them apart. You can see I'm actually just pulling this out by hand for the most part. It's getting a little bit of drag on it because I got tension on it now because I took the other one out. But once these come out of here, and I am just using my box end because it's a little bit tighter in this space. May have to do here. Got it loose. There we go. And then that one's out. And then down in here, you've got two 13s that keep the shock in here. And those will come straight out. Okay. Then we've got our brake caliper bolt. Hold our brake line. These are not stock brake lines. They don't come with AN fittings or braided steel fittings from the factory. So look at that. Get that back in there so don't leak any more fluid out of here. And then for our lower bolts here, we've got a straight up 21 millimeter that gets these out of here. If I can get my tool put together real quick. I think I got my tool in the wrong setting. Of course I do. There we go. That one comes straight off. And gets stuck promptly in my tool. So we'll get that back on there for real quick. Just so we can get that off of there. Get our tool set back up again. Actually, we're gonna put our extension on it this time so we can get to it. If I didn't mention, this is a 21 millimeter that goes on here. This goes straight up in there and off. We'll just leave that unhooked for now. We'll go around to our other side. And we'll get these bolts out. You can see that upper control arm already moving, shifting. So what I need to do is kind of see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. That one's out. And then we'll go for our bolts here. And we'll get this one out. And that one's out. And then we just need to get our two 21 mils out of there. Get this one in place. That one's out. Let's see if I can get in here with this one. And you can see how that fell already. So they made it so that it would naturally want to just drop right out of there. So let's see if we make sure I'm not missing something. See, that came out. And this one comes out. That one's loose. So let's go ahead and lower it and see what we're working with here. See those locator pins there? And there it went. Now this is what we use our, oh, of course, I left that bolt in there. So let's jack that back up there. Don't ever forget to take your last bolts out. Oh, we need our extension for that. That's your ABS or brake line there, parking brake line. Of course, it doesn't want to go back on there. And that's it. So, as you can see, now of course, it is a heck of a lot heavier when it's got everything on it. Not that it's not heavy now. But that's it, guys. That's the entire rear suspension pulled out of a C5 Corvette. And this applies to C6 Corvettes as well. So you can get a better picture of it there. You can see your 2 thrill bolts. And these go all the way through the frame rail up into the top there on top of the frame rail. So they'll stay captive with the body. So once you get to it, then you start tearing it down from there. So what I'll probably do is tomorrow I'll show you guys how to quickly tear this thing back down into individual components. We'll put the PBT blaster on it so everything loosens up, and then we'll go from there. We also got some tear down time for the fuel system. This is one of the fuel tanks right here. You can kind of see the fuel sending unit is right there. And then of course up underneath here, oh, they took the crossover tube out of this one already. But there's all your fuel lines and plastic lines, everything that crosses over, because the C5 has 2 fuel tanks. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up today, guys. I'll be back tomorrow, like I said, with some other goodies to do. I'm gonna go in, take a 5-minute water break, because like I said, it's about hotter than the surface of the sun out here at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So thanks for watching all the way to the end, and we'll get back in touch with you tomorrow. See you then. Thanks.